All right. Hey, YouTube, I'm Lucky, and this week's Nightfall drops are the Palindrome hand cannon and the Swarm machine gun. Now, you don't really care much about the Swarm machine gun because there are a few machine guns that outclass it. It does have Vorpal as like one of the only machine guns that has that, but you don't really want to shoot bosses with the machine gun. They just recently buffed machine guns, and so they are much, much better for ad clear. So unfortunately, the Swarm's not really what you want to chase for. What you really want to chase for is the Adept Palindrome. This thing is a beast in both PvP and PvE, but most especially in PvP. This is a top tier weapon, one that has reached the top 10 in the Trials meta report a variety of different times. Such a strong weapon, and I'm going to go over the exact god rolls you want to go for. This week is the Lake of Shadows, which is the fastest, most efficient Grandmaster you can possibly beat. So get leveled up enough, get to 1345, get in there, get those Grandmasters beat. Lake of Shadows is so easy to beat. Once you get leveled up properly, it's not that hard. If you need some help getting it done, you can watch my video on how I beat it and the strategies that I use for that. But honestly, it's really not that hard of a GM. I promise you, once you get leveled up, you can definitely get through it. And when you do beat it, Bungie has now guaranteed that you're going to get drops. So you're guaranteed either going to get a Swarm to drop or a Palindrome. Hopefully RNG is good for you and you get the better half of that and you get the Palindrome to drop for you more consistently. And if you do, these are going to be the rolls you're going to look for. I have 4 Palindromes on me because I farmed so many Grandmasters in the past. We got Quick Draw Rangefinder. This roll is amazing in PvP. You can swap from your shotgun to your hand cannon really fast if you need to clean people up. They're weak around the corner, etc. Quick Draw is such a strong perk, always in PvP. The ability to swap to a weapon can never be emphasized within PvP. It's always good, even though they just recently nerfed it. It was so much better back in the day, but still a very good perk. And Rangefinder will help you compete against longer ranged weapons, and this will be a really, really strong and valuable asset to this 140 RPM. Even if you get kill clip on a perk like this or a weapon like this, it doesn't increase the time to kill. So Rangefinder, a very, very great option for the Palindrome. I also kept a Bottomless Grief Rampage roll, so that way we could clear out some ads from PvE. I kept an Overflow One for All roll. This would be like one of the #1 rolls I would say to go for PvE Palindrome, and this would be the PvP Palindrome with Quick Draw Rangefinder. And then I also kept an Overflow Rangefinder roll. If we pull up light.gg here, though, I'll pull up all of the perk options you can see here. You got Thresh, not that hot of a perk. Rampage, pretty good, especially if you compare it with like Subsistence. Can be pretty nasty to keep that procced endlessly, the Rampage stacks. So in low-end PV, that would actually be a pretty strong combination there, I'd say. Or with something like Overflow wouldn't be too bad. One for All, really, really strong, especially in high-end PvE. If you do use this would be something you could use in like a Grandmaster, stuff like that. This will pair much better with something like Overflow rather than something like Subsistence. So Overflow, One for All, like I mentioned before, such a good roll. High Impact Reserves doesn't seem to affect these 140s that much, so although this is a great perk on some weapons, on this weapon, doesn't seem to matter that much. Rangefinder, amazing though. PvP, probably the best perk possible. And Unrelenting, an average perk at best. So PvP, Rangefinder, PvE, One for All, in my opinion. Going down the other slot, we have Overflow, such a good perk. And you can get a massive magazine with the Palindrome, okay? Especially with the Adept one. And it has such good base stats that focusing on a huge magazine is actually quite nice for this weapon. Outlaw is decent, but it's definitely not outshone by perks like Overflow. Killing Wind, not too bad, a little more of a PvP perk. And maybe you could use that over Quick Draw if you prefer, which is totally fine. Subsistence, a great perk, but again, more for low-end PvE because, you have to be able to kill ads with 1 or 2 shots, otherwise you'll end up just reloading and waste the perk overall. Quick Draw, amazing as always, and Bottomless Reef recently got buffed. Gives it a much bigger magazine size, which is nice for these 140s, feels good. Magazines and stuff, I could go over barrels, but overall, I don't think that meaningfully impacts the weapon so much that it matters or really affects the god roll a ton. I know some people would disagree. They'll say, oh, must have flared magwell and stuff like that. But honestly, these 140s have great reload speed. They have great stats across the board. So if you're going to go for anything, you could go for a bigger magazine. You go for, high caliber rounds, stuff like that. I'm not going to be too particular when it comes to the magazine and barrel on a weapon like this. This is the roll that I use for PvP. If you ever see me using a Palindrome PvP, I bust this bad boy out all the time. And I do whenever it's hand cannon stun mods over here, when like it isn't this season, but if it is next season, I'll definitely be pulling this one out of the vault and dusting it off. Overflow, One for All. So get out there, get to grinding, get to beating the Lake of Shadows Grandmaster this week if you can, to get this Adept version. If you can't, just get the non-Adept version. Do whatever you can. Get out there, get to farming, and best of luck to you in your efforts to get this god roll. If you do get one, tag me on Twitter at Lucky10p. I appreciate y'all watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.